You're now rocking one-on-one with Raider Mystic KPOV 88.9 FM.
All right, thanks for tuning in, guys. This is One-on-One with Raider Mystic. I'm Raider Mystic. We are live here at Goodrich Pasture Park in Bend, Oregon. This is the second time that I've actually done an interview live in our parks, which is kind of a cool environment. You get the cars, you get the birds, you get the frogs, all that. But I am here with Coach Ryan Doty. Coach Doty, welcome, Coach.
Hey, what's up, Mystic? Man, I'm just happy to finally make the cut. You know, I've been listening in from afar the last few months and tuning in and wondering if you were ever going to reach out to me or not. And so fell down the draft board a little bit, but I'm okay with being the sleeper pick and joining you here today.
Hey, you're not a sleeper, man. So, you are wearing your Central Oregon Athletics Just Play shirt. Dressed up and down in the clean white. The clean white uni. I like
the icy
it.
whites.
The icy whites. That's a good look. I like it. I think I have one set myself.
All right.
You know, when I DJ sometimes, pull it out on a nice summer day.
Rare occasion, yeah.
And those summer days are coming to an end pretty soon. But, yeah, we're here to talk about sports and kind of what you're up to and what you're doing. So let's get a little bit into your past, Coach Doty. When you were growing up as a kid, what sports were you into?
Yeah, I guess I can kind of just give you a rundown of, you know, my sports journey, my sports history, and kind of how it's landed me where I am today. Sports has always been like a big part of my life. I'm originally from Corvallis, Oregon, and I actually started racing BMX bikes when I was 2 years old. And so,
oh, wow. You're going to go back with
yeah, man.
I was a BMX racer at 2 years old?
You know, my dad had to push me up some of the bigger jumps and things like that, but I was scooting around the track with no training wheels out there. I was
no
training wheels. I'm throwing it all in there, yeah.
Oh, wow.
So,
going hard in the paint.
You know, there wasn't a lot of other competition in the 2-year-old division, and so I would race up against the older kids. Obviously, did that for a handful of years, and then you know, I'm one of 4 boys in the family, and so I land right there in the middle somewhere. So had the experience of being the younger brother and kind of getting picked on that way and trying to keep up with my older brother and his friends, and then had the experience of being the older brother and kind of dishing out some of that to the younger guys. And so it worked out good for me. And, you know, we had a lot of heated 2-on-2 sibling rivalries at the house growing up.
Yeah, that would be fun.
Gets super competitive and things like that. And so I feel like, you know, that kind of started where my little bit of my toughness and competitive edge for sports growing up. And of course, you know, the neighborhood park where you gather all your friends up and head down to the park and you're playing tackle football without pads and out there coming home with shiners and stuff like that. So that was kind of my younger days, and then didn't really start playing organized sports until probably middle school, 6th grade or so. Had a really cool middle school experience. I started playing middle school football. We had a really good class of kids, a great team, awesome coach, Coach Todorovich. He went with us from middle school all the way up through high school, and he had a really big impact on my sports journey and my life. I still stay in contact with him now. He was like a mentor for me, and then part of the reason why I like to coach these days, and so I'm glad I crossed paths with him. And so, yeah, that was the young days, and then the middle school, and then we can get into some high school stuff too if you want.
Yeah, and where was this all going down? Where did you grow up at?
Yeah, Corvallis, Oregon, and so Southtown, Corvallis. Yep,
Southtown.
Yep.
You stayed on the south side.
You gotta watch out over there in Southtown, you know what I mean?
I don't know Corvallis that well, so I don't know what the south side, the north side, the east side, or the west side looks like. But, you know, we always got different sides on different sides of the tracks. So then high school.
Yeah, like I said, Corvallis. I went to Corvallis High School. I was class of 2004, and I was lucky to be a part of a really talented class of athletes. Ended up playing football and basketball in high school, and before I got to Corvallis High School, they were in a bit of a slump in both of those sports, kind of having a hard time winning games.
You showed up.
We showed up. 04 showed up and kind of turned things around there at Corvallis High School, and we brought the Spartan Magic back, is what we called it. And so
Spartan Magic. Do you guys do like a twinkling thing with your fingers?
I mean, you're laying hits on the field, if that's what,
Okay,
you know. Or, so yeah, we had a really good group. We made playoffs in both football and basketball. Hadn't been done for a long time. We ended up, I think, won our first playoff. Well, we ended up we lost one game our senior year in football to Sprague. We lost by 2 points, but that was back when it was the Valley League, the old school Valley League. So we had a couple teams in Corvallis, a couple in Albany, and then we were grouped in with those bigger Salem schools. So West Salem, North Salem, South Salem, McKay, McNary. Similar to when Central Oregon a couple seasons back bumped up to 6A and got grouped into those Salem schools. That was kind of what the Valley League was. I think Lebanon might have been grouped in there too. I might have to go back and check the VHS tapes to find out. But
the VHS.
Yeah, high school football. We ended up heading up to Beaverton in the round 2 of the playoffs. Tough Beaverton team. They had an awesome stadium. Had the turf field, and none of us had played on the turf much before. And went up there thinking we were pretty hot stuff, and they took it to us. And similar to basketball, we had a good crew there too. Ended up having a good season. Went up to play Jesuit, and I think the second round of the playoffs. And they had the Tarver brothers over there at Jesuit. I think both of them, or at least one of them, ended up playing for the Beavers at OSU. But they were a tough team, and they ended up sending us home early. And that was the same year that South Salem won the state championship, I think, with Jeremiah Dominguez, and Coach Marty Lunan was actually played against that South Salem team in the finals, I think, and were the runners-up. So that was the type of competition and caliber of the kids we were playing against. So I was lucky to be a part of such a competitive program and league at that time.
Right on. And you're referencing Coach Marty Lunan. He's been on the show before with us, and that episode is one of my favorite episodes still, talking about his years over in Europe playing pro ball and his experiences with the Ducks and stuff like that. So good dude, fun stuff. And then after all that, now you did some college too.
Yeah, so after high school, I didn't have a lot of direction or, didn't know what I wanted to do really, so decided to take some classes in Albany, which was just like 20 minutes from where I lived in Corvallis. And I figured, hey, while I'm there, let's see if I can, hop onto this basketball team. So tried out for the Lynn Benton Community College Roadrunners basketball team.
The Roadrunners.
I ended up making the team. Played a couple seasons there. I mean, had a really good time with it. Obviously extending your sports career. That was kind of the goal. Learned a lot about the game. Met some cool people. Got to travel with the team and things like that. And so I took a lot away from it and kind of kept my love of the basketball game going there.
So it sounds like mainly basketball and football are kind of the sports you gravitated to. Did you do baseball?
I like a little bit of that little league when I was super young, but never stuck with it. And I gravitated towards the football and the basketball, which is funny because I'm undersized, right? And so I kind of picked the two sports where size can be an advantage most of the time. But like I said, I was, competitive at a young age and always playing up and competing against my older brother and his class of friends. And so I hung in there with the sports and, stuck with football and basketball. Wish I would have probably done some baseball, maybe some soccer. Might have been more fitting for me, but, wouldn't change it now, though.
So, Lynn Benton, you did basketball, but they didn't have football. And then but you later on still continued to play some football.
Yeah, right after
I've seen some highlight reels.
I got a couple out there.
I've seen all kinds of highlight reels.
Yeah,
No.
well, the kids have it good these days. You know, they got the huddle accounts.
Oh my
and,
gosh.
gosh, whatever else, they just plop it online right there. Back when I was growing up and things like that, it was a little bit harder to get some film online and save it. Like I wasn't joking about the VHS. Like I think a lot of my high school stuff is on VHS, and so. But yeah, there's a few highlights out there. But yeah, after I finished at Lynn Benton was about the same time I got introduced to this semi-pro football world, which was, kind of consumed my sports career for the next 10 to 15 years, really. Did a lot of things through the semi-pro football, as far as being a player, being a coach, owning a team, and then eventually owning a league with my co-owner of a league with my good friend
player,
Gary
owning
Barnes.
A team, owning a league. What?
Yeah. So I got originally hopped on this team out of Albany, tried out for a team called the Power Valley Sharks. Met a great group of guys, played several years with them, had a good time. A lot of great athletes. You know, the semi-pro stuff is funny because it's a lot of different walks of life. So you're going to get guys that are just out of high school and trying to pursue their career still and, like, trying to get a little highlight tape and, like, get on out of college somewhere. You're going to get guys that have, already played in college, small college, D1, that are just coming back for the love of the game and to keep playing. And then, you got some ex-NFL dudes sprinkled in there. And so you're surrounded by, a wide range of athletes and coaches, and so I was really able to learn a lot from that experience. And most of it, you get a lot of people that kind of talk down on the semi-pro stuff about the beer league type thing, but to be honest, I mean, I learned a lot about being a coach, and then learned a lot about the game through my experience in the semi-pro stuff. So I really enjoyed that, made some lifelong friends and some great memories.
Yeah, that's a big place that I think people bond for sure, is through sports and through those grinds of all the teams and the even the teams that you don't win as many games, or you share these life experiences with these people. Those are your brothers. Yeah, the brotherhood, man. That's what we always preached, was the brotherhood, having each other's back, and that family for people who don't necessarily have family otherwise. We always got the brotherhood, so that's what it's all about. So that helped, like you said, just kind of shape you as your future coach, and now you've coached a lot of different places also. So let's begin your coaching journey. Where did you start? Yeah, I guess we can finish up with the tail end of the semi-pro coaching stuff. When I moved out to Central Oregon, moved away from Corvallis, and we moved, my wife and 2 kids, we moved out to Bend, and, still wanted to play, really. Couldn't find anything. I've heard there used to be semi-pro teams out here, but nothing anymore, so decided to start my own, which was the Central Oregon Outlaws. Didn't know anyone out here at the time. Started posting online, like flag football pickup games, like come play on the weekends. And so that kind of caught wind. We get more and more people showing up every weekend till eventually we had enough dudes to kind of to start a team. So we started a team, and we kept that thing rolling for about 5 years. Same type of deal, man. Met a lot of good people, had a lot of good memories, good experiences. And I think outside of the Bend, Oregon Raider Nation stuff, that's kind of where I started working with you a little bit, is reaching out to you as a DJ and having you coming out to the games, announcing the games, DJing the games. So yeah, that was an epic time, announcing and DJing simultaneously. See, that was fun because you're on top of it, and you know when to stop the song and start the song, because nobody else is telling you anything, so it's just all you on the island. So it's fun. Yeah, man, we had Pilot Butte football field, the Kraken, out there a couple times. Yeah, and it was a cool little spot for the DJ setup. It had its own little booth up there, so that you had to climb up and like hang on and get up in there. But it was a good scene, and that kind of went until COVID. Is that
Yeah,
the
man.
time?
Went up until COVID hit, and I was at a point in my life where it was kind of a good transition period. With a lot of years of football, a lot of years of playing football and coaching and the semi-pro stuff, and so I took that as an opportunity to kind of part ways with that and focus on some other stuff. So that's kind of where the semi-pro journey lies for now. We still get together and do some flag football tournaments every once in a while with the outlaw group, or we'll go throw the ball around at the park from time to time. I still have those guys come out and help me with camps and stuff like that, so good connections for sure still.
Are you familiar with a team that was kind of based out of Sisters a long time ago? Have you heard about that team, or were you connected to it?
I've heard of the one I was hearing about, so the Lightning, and I don't know if that was the one.
Yeah, I think that might be it. Out of Central Oregon in like the early 2000s, maybe.
Mm-hmm.
I was riding on a plane back from San Diego just a couple weeks ago, and I was seated next to a dude that played for the Bend Rugby. But he said he played for that team as quarterback originally, or that for a season, and I believe it was the Lightning.
Yeah,
but yeah, just a little piece of history, and that they were based out of Sisters though, which was kind of a weird spot to be based out of.
Yeah, there was a couple of the players that ended up on the Outlaws actually were part of that Lightning team out here. So that was kind of cool to keep that going a little bit. But yeah, so that was about all I knew about them.
Yeah. And so at that point with the Outlaws, and then kind of COVID hit. But before that, though, you were coaching, had some more experience coaching, maybe in the middle school system.
Yeah, so right about the same time I moved out to Bend, I started getting that Outlaws team rolling just for kind of like personal reasons, wanted to play still. But I also wanted to kind of further my coaching career with the youth, though. And so I applied for the Cascade Middle School assistant coach job, and so that was my first coaching job for Bend Lapine School District. Was out there at Cascade Middle School. Coach, I think it was JC Liza, good guy, man. We had a lot of fun that year. I ended up only staying out there for one season. At the time, I was working at the hospital, and it was really tough for me to get from there clear across town on the west side in time for practice with all the traffic and stuff out there. And so I looked around. Pilot Butte had a couple positions posted, and so I ended up going from Cascade Middle School and then doing a couple seasons over at Pilot Butte Middle School.
Okay. Do you know kind of what years those were?
Ooh, maybe like 2015-ish.
2015.
Yeah. At Cascade, and then kind of like consistently on from there, doing 2 seasons at Pilot Butte. The way they did it there is like you would alternate grade levels. So one year you do 7th grade, and then the next year you do 8th grade. So that was kind of cool getting to work with the both different age groups there.
Did you know a guy at Cascade Middle School at all named a staff member named Eric Powell? He was a vice principal for a while. I'm not sure if he was then.
No, sounds familiar, but I can't say that I remember that for sure.
Just wondering.
Yeah.
A friend of ours. But so Cascade, then you went to Pilot Butte, and then after Pilot Butte, what happens next?
Pilot Butte was fun. I kind of stepped into a bigger role there as offensive coordinator and kind of learning how to coach youth sports a little bit more. I was used to the adult stuff, and so took my experience from there and reached out to Coach Crum over there at Mountain View High School. Told him that and actually to rewind a little bit, as I got the job at Cascade, I also applied for the freshman basketball coaching job at Mountain View. So I was doing football at Cascade. I got the basketball coaching at Mountain View. Then we fast forward a couple years, reach out to Coach Crum at Mountain View, say, hey, I'm already doing basketball at Mountain View. I'm coaching football at Pilot Butte. I'd love to kind of join forces and just have everything, both basketball and football, be at Mountain View. And so that ended up working out. I got to be a part of the football program at Mountain View. I was doing freshman ball there. Coach Schultz and coaching some running backs. I got to work with the wide receivers and the defensive backs, and really learned a lot about how to kind of run a really legit program as far as, the high school level, kind of all the different things that go into that. I got to be pretty involved with that, and like I said, I took a lot away from that, had a good experience there, and just learned a lot. They had a really good staff at the time, and they still do. So it was great to be able to kind of take bits and pieces from all those various coaches and kind of put those in my tool belt for, my future coaching career.
Yeah. And then after that, you go to Ridgeview?
Yeah, so was like 2 or 3 seasons at Mountain View.
But in between, before Ridgeview, though, wasn't there something else? Was that when the storm?
Yeah.
Before Ridgeview? Or at the
so
same
that was
time?
right around the same time as I was doing Ridgeview, when the professional arena football team came to town too, and we can kind of touch on that a little bit as well. But the family and I were looking to buy a house in Central Oregon. Bend was tough, man. We looked and looked and looked. We ended up getting pushed out to Redmond, which is a blessing in disguise. We love it. We love where we're at now. But so we moved out there, and trying to get back and forth to Bend every day for practices and things like that was tough. So my idea was like, hey, let's transfer the coaching stuff over to the Redmond School District and see what we can do out there. And
right.
So I ended up reaching out to Coach Pileggi there at Ridgeview High School, and he was happy to take me on as an assistant coach there with the varsity team. And I got to work with the wide receivers mostly, did a little bit of special teams, and then a little bit on the defensive back side of things. And spent 2 years there, and it was a really kind of a unique experience because my oldest son actually ended up playing his senior year, his last year of football there. So last year I got to coach my oldest boy playing at Ridgeview football, and great memories. I really, really had a good time with that.
Yeah, that's cool. And so you were the head coach of the Storm at that same time?
Yeah, so at the same time, yeah. So basically what happened was caught wind of this, professional arena football team coming to Redmond, Oregon, and kind of was skeptical at first, wasn't sure that was a real thing, and I followed them, and kind of looking at them from afar. And then, at the time that their tryouts came around, I decided to go check them out, right? And then I also had a couple of my players from the Outlaws, the semi-pro stuff, that was going to go try out for the Storm.
Were you going to try out?
The thought crossed my mind for sure.
Because you want to play.
Yeah.
Because you always want to play.
Unfortunately, it caught me a few years too late. Had it been a couple years earlier, I would have definitely tried out. But decided to kind of put my coaching hat on. I went out there to the tryouts to support, some of my semi-pro guys, local guys that were trying out for the team. Ended up making the team, a few of them, which was cool. But yeah, so I chopped it up with Coach Evans a little bit at the tryout. He agreed to meet up with me a week later to kind of talk about a potential coaching role with the arena team, and turns out he hired me on to work with a little bit with the wide receivers, a little bit with the DBs, did a little bit of special team stuff, and it was a good fit because I was the local guy, so even the coaching staff was coming from out of state, and all the players were coming from out of state, so I was one of the local guys here that could kind of help them show them around a little bit, help them with some community connections, and kind of be an assistant that way. So that was kind of how I got involved with the arena football stuff.
Yeah, and little side note on Coach Evans, cool history on that is his father, right, is track and field. I believe I'm talking about the right guy.
Yeah.
Coach. Yeah, Keith Evans.
Yeah, Olympics.
His dad was the in a big moment in Olympic history. Holden, I believe, might have been a gold medal even. In a moment where there was a lot of like black suppression and stuff, and like a big black movement was going on in the United States. And that was a big moment in history. His father was a big part of that.
Yeah, and that was what was cool about this arena football stuff, with people coming from all parts of the country, right, that have pretty cool histories with sports, is that you meet some really high caliber athletes and coaches and things like that, and even Coach Miles, that I think he's also been on this before.
Oh yeah, Coach Miles, what's up?
Shout out to Coach Miles.
Yeah, he's been on the show, and he's got a great history. I mean, he's intercepted
Kurt Warner
in arena football at the moment that Kurt Warner was like living it up, that guy, and I was when arena football was really like hype on ESPN and full houses, and yeah, a big part of history got that football out of Kurt Warner's hands.
Yeah, that's some claim to fame right there.
Yeah.
That's
In part of that moment of sports history, that's pretty cool.
Serious business. But yeah, so crossing paths with people like that, and enjoying that experience. And so leading into the second season with the Storm, the ownership wanted to make a change at coach, and I was kind of the guy that they wanted to take that spot. So I ended up taking the head coaching role there for the arena team, and general manager spot. And it was really a good fit because of all my experience with doing this type of stuff before, with recruiting players, with managing teams, with being out in the community already, trying to work with businesses on sponsorships and things like that. So I kind of naturally fell into that position, and had a great time with it, man. Just kind of being in shock a little bit of starting out at coaching at the middle school level, and then doing semi-pro stuff and having games at Pilot Butte, to being handed the key to the expo center at the fairgrounds, and then kind of opening that place up and getting the field set up in there, taking a look around, and just being man, we kind of came a long ways. And so that was a really cool experience. And then being able to bring my connections in, and local people getting involved, like yourself, Raider Mystic, reaching out to you, having you come out and DJ those games, announce some of those games.
I went from the outside Pilot Butte field into the arena.
Yeah, man.
It's fun. It was fun. I remember my first couple times in there too. I was like, oh, this is cool, man.
Yeah, you
got the whole arena.
Yeah, we go from a couple, 50 to 100 fans to getting to where we were pushing a couple thousand fans there for a few games. It was starting to grow a little bit. And then, bringing in Chantel Bowman to be the athletic trainer. She had been an athletic trainer in Central Oregon for quite some time, and asking her to come out and help out. And then it was kind of like a family affair thing too, had the kids and the wife helping out. So it was cool to kind of bring all that into something on a bigger scale. And I just recently resigned from that position this past season, for various reasons, but mostly because it's a spring league. It started interfering with my high school basketball, as high school basketball, kind of the tail end of the season, especially if you're getting into playoffs and things like that. The important part of the season, and then that's running into practice time with the Storm, and then game time with the Storm, and it's really tough being split and not being able to put your best foot forward into one program or the other. So kind of went with my gut, went with what I'd been used to, and my passion for working with the kids and sticking with the youth, and kind of stepped down from the adult stuff and stuck with the kiddos.
Yeah, the kids are cool. I think you get a lot of growth personally too out of working with the kids, and it's always a fun squad. And there's always a squad of kids coming next still.
Yeah, it's not going anywhere, that's for sure.
But, yeah, you know, personally, I got into coaching a little bit, you know, at the root level when I just felt like that, you know, kids were getting mismanaged left and right in some of the teams my kids were on. And that's not because I wanted my kid to have more time. I was just like, man, if I was the coach right now, I'd have this kid because he's better at catching. He'll play catcher. That kid should be pitching, you know, blah, 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 blah. And then I'm like, oh, I'll try it, you know. And I was nervous, and I did first grade soccer, and I had so much fun directing the kids, and they all loved me, and we always had fun. I brought the boom box, you know, coached with the tunes, and then I did soccer again, and then I did it again, and I was like, I'll try baseball. I don't know that much about it, but then I'm like 6 years in a row in baseball. Then I was on the, you know, with helping with the junior all-star team as an assistant, asked to do that. And yeah, it's a cool thing to be able to work with the kids and be able to give them positive input and be a good mentor, stuff like that, and know the game.
Yeah, man. Well, you've been around the sports scene for quite some time, and that's cool to hear about your the coaching gigs too. I knew you were doing a little bit of like basketball and stuff, and then officiating and you know, DJing sports events and stuff like that. Shoot, I might have to get you on my coaching squad here one of these days, man.
Hey, I'm here.
Let's retire you from the music scene and get you on my coaching staff.
Get me the app.
Yeah, hey, man.
I mean, not the app, but like the application.
Come on out to Obsidian, man.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. Like, that could be fun. Which I'll just go straight into it. So now you are an Obsidian coach, yes?
Yeah. So that's my most recent coaching position. So I was doing the Ridgeview, like we talked about a little bit, and it was funny how it worked. Is that, you know, I reached out, or I was talking with Coach Pileggi, and was just saying, you know, my oldest son's done playing at Ridgeview, and I got a younger boy who's just getting into middle school, and you know, wanting to be more present with his sporting stuff. So, like, you know, after that season, maybe I'll bump down to the middle school level. I was undecided, just throwing it out there. And then he came back to me a few weeks later, and he's like, hey, well, if you're serious about the middle school coaching stuff, then, you know, the Obsidian middle school head football coaching job just opened up. And, you know, I know you said you were going to wait till next season, but this might be the year to do it while it's open. And so I was like, all right, man, let's go for it. So I applied, and then just recently this summer got hired on as the head football coach there at Obsidian, and just super excited to drop back down to the middle school level, kind of where it all started for me, and be able to work with that younger age, 7th and 8th graders again. And it's just nice being able to catch them while they're a little bit younger, man. I feel like I have a little bit more of an influence on them as to being able to kind of help them navigate their way through their junior high school years, and, you know, helping them out with some life stuff too, and then obviously their sports career, and getting them prepared for the high school level, and then, you know, having good ties with the high school coaches around there too, kind of know what it takes to kind of prepare those kids for that. And I'm looking forward to a fun season, and also, you know, for more personal reasons, it's a shorter season. It opens up a little bit more of my summer, and I get to spend a little bit more time, you know, with my wife and kids, which is important, because I'm just realizing how quick time goes these days. So
yeah, because you got an older son that's already gone.
Yeah,
right?
man, just graduated early, moved out already, and so man, it's been a rude awakening that I'm getting old. And
no, I got the you know, anytime I got like a basketball ref meeting or something, and like a kid has a sports game on the same night, the last time I hit up one of the heads of that, I'm like, hey, my kid's got a game, you know, I know this is something we need to do, but I really want to go watch my kid's game. And the response is like, absolutely, go to every of your kids' game instead of these meetings.
It's priorities, man.
It'll be over soon. He's like, trust me, half of mine are gone.
Yeah, dude.
So I enjoyed that response, and I've taken it pretty seriously.
Awesome.
Also,
That's cool that you're a part of their sports stuff. That's big time.
Yeah, and as far as the connection with kids too, you have a day job with the Friends of the Children.
Yeah, I guess as much as I'd hate to say it, is that the coaching gigs don't necessarily pay all the bills, you know. So I do have to have a day job, or some people call it a real job, whatever you might call it. But Friends of the Children, Central Oregon, man, it's been a blessing. I ended up finishing my college courses at OSU Cascades over in Bend. And after that, I didn't know what I wanted to do. I knew I wanted to continue working with kids, working with the youth, being able to be some sort of positive influence through coaching and then mentoring. Just didn't know exactly what that was yet. So I was experimenting around. I did a lot of volunteer work. I was volunteering with Heart of Oregon Youth Corps, helping kids kind of prepare for their GED, work towards their GED, or maybe getting their permit or license and things like that. And so I did a couple years working with them, and then I also did a year as a volunteer with CASA, so basically like an advocate for kids that are working their way through the foster care system, speak on their behalf in court and things like that, and staying involved with that type of stuff. Lots of volunteer work with my guy Gary Barnes, Stuggy Bear Cares, doing stuff down at the Bethlehem Inn, and with Ronald McDonald, teaming up with Bend, Oregon Raider Nation on some of that stuff. Really cool events.
We've all teamed up together on that stuff.
Yeah, and so I kind of being in that field of with my degree being in human services and trying to work with people, I stumbled across Friends of the Children, and it was like it said hiring a professional mentor, and I'm like, okay, I mean, that sounds really cool. I didn't really think it was a real thing to be able to get paid to be a mentor, right? I've been volunteering all this time. I'm like, okay, I can get paid for this. Let's check this out. And so
I might need that app too.
Yeah, right. I'll send it your way. So it turns out, it's a really cool nonprofit program. We have a group of amazing mentors on the team, and just shout out to those other mentors, the coworkers that I get to work with, and the admin that I get to work with that program. They're just really amazing. They have an endless amount of energy and dedication for the kids we work with, and so I look up to them all the time. I learn from them, so much from them. But so the deal is that we get the idea is that you get 8 youth on your roster, and these are kind of kiddos that have been going through some different adversities in their life, and and we get to be their friend, right? Mm-hmm. So we get to be there with them, hanging out with them, someone they can call, someone they can trust, someone they can talk to about stuff. We get to go out in the community and learn new things together, meet new people. We can set goals together, work towards goals, and so essentially we're their friend. And so that's the gig, man. I get paid to be a mentor to these kids and to work with some really neat kiddos and families, and it's a really cool job, man.
That's cool. Kudos for that. That's work that needs to be done, and not everybody can do that. There's a lot of different people out there, a lot of different ways of handling situations, and these kids need friends and support groups and mentors. I'm not sure what the history on all that is, but I know from myself in working in a behavior program with the schools that there's a lot of trauma that goes down in a lot of the people's past and stuff too. All walks of life, anywhere from like the kid that just wants to be a punk, or to just trying to not have much guidance.
Yep.
And helping guide them in a positive direction to make good choices and be respectful.
It definitely, it's true, man. It is true. We work with a lot of different type of kiddos, and it's I talk about it like it's great and it's always awesome. But it definitely has its challenges and things like that. So you bring a lot of that stuff home with you. There's a lot of connection and an attachment to those kids. You feel like they're kind of part of the family, and so it gets difficult at times for sure. But we're creating better futures for those kiddos and in the community, and so that's what it's all about.
Yeah. It's definitely good for the soul. It'll help everybody in the future for sure. All of their future connections and the way they handle themselves. I just ran into a couple kids that were a little more on the loose side, doing some solid stuff, holding down some serious gigs, some good jobs, and I was like, hey, you remember me? I worked with you a couple years ago at the school. He's like, yeah. He's like, you were always nice to me. I'm like, cool. That's all I needed.
Yeah, man. That's it's a part about coaching too. Is like when you get, some of those kids, they reach back out to you a few years later after they graduate, and their success stories, they're doing good things, and you know that you feel good because you were part of that journey, right? You kind of helped them out a little bit in that sense. So it's cool.
Yeah. This year on my baseball team, I did something I never did before, just trying to be but I'm also scouting, so I'm checking every single individual on our team to see if they can be a pitcher. And everybody gets a chance to be a pitcher.
There you go.
So each day, the first couple of practices, we got 2 people. I'm off on the side watching them for like 30 minutes. And then the next day, 2 more people. And then halfway through the season, we had some awesome pitchers that didn't want to pitch and never had any want to do that, besides me picking them up and telling them, hey, you got a arm that's precise, you're strong, and you're throwing it right at the target. Do this. You could help the team out. You could have a lot of fun too.
Point them in the right direction, man.
Yeah.
Yep. Just need someone to believe in them.
So watch out, John Gruden. I'm on the grind over here. Gruden grinder.
Yep.
I know talent when I see it. But so that's awesome. Friends of the Children. So we did your whole football career with coaching so far, up to date, and we touched on that you were a Mountain View basketball coach. So are you still a Mountain View basketball coach?
Yeah, I talked about a little bit about transferring all my coaching stuff over to the Redmond schools, but I just haven't quite let go of the Mountain View basketball yet. I'm going into my 9th season there, so there's, a lot of history and commitment.
You got to get a decade. You got to put a decade in.
Yeah, man, a lot of hours put into that program. And so, I think it was 2015 when I moved to Bend or so, and I got hired on there. It was just after the Craig Reed era there. I had heard coming in so much about Coach Reed and his program and how successful they were and what a great coach he was. And so unfortunately I missed getting to work with him in that sense, but I do still get to partner up with him for some Kobo basketball camps and things like that, or he'll come in and talk to the teams a little bit at Mountain View and just give us some new perspective and sit down and pick his brain a little bit. So I just missed Coach Reed. When I got hired, it was the transition period. They had just hired Coach Broadus to be the head coach there, and so he ended up hiring me as the head freshman coach there, and working under him was awesome. I mean, he knows the game really, really well, and he can get the kids to play hard. And so I learned a lot about coaching basketball, because up until then, I played basketball in high school. I played some in college. I played a lot of rec stuff and things like that, but I never had any high school coaching experience. So I kind of got thrown into the fire a little bit there. And so learning from Coach Broadus, kind of how that system worked, and that was really good. I spent 1 year doing the freshman and then got bumped up to the JV level. And then I think it was 2 or 3 seasons under Coach Broadus, and then there was another transition. Broadus had stepped down, and Coach Townsend took over as the head varsity coach, and he's the current varsity coach there now. Coach Townsend had also got hired on at the same time as me. He was the assistant varsity coach for Broadus there, and so he slid into that head role after Broadus left. And man, I couldn't ask for a better mentor to learn from and to work under, and that's part part of the reason why I just have had a drag on my feet and I don't want to leave is because I'm loyal to Coach Townsend and his program, and I learned so much from him. He knows the game more than anyone else I've ever been around. I think he's too smart for his own good sometimes, and like some of the sets he's teaching us and things like that, I have to relearn them each year because I forget a couple steps along the way. But I've just had such a great experience working with him, and looking forward to this upcoming season in November and getting it going again, man. And gosh, coached a lot of great athletes have come through there, and it should be an interesting season. A lot of good teams in the league this year, a lot of good players, and on top of it, I get to coach your son. I got to coach him last season at the JV level, and then hopefully be a part of his journey to varsity this year. And so, it's funny, man. I had a great time with him last year because I'll kind of sidetrack on the Mason a little bit. Is that I knew coming in to the season that he could shoot the ball, right? But I didn't know he could shoot that good. So I kind of gave him a chance, early in the season, drawed up a few plays for him, and, he's knocking down shots. So by the end of the season, I'm pretty sure it's like trying to use him like Steph Curry, where I'm just running him off screens, drawing up all kinds of sets for him, right? And he's putting the ball in the hoop and, getting double teams and opening up other guys and things like that. So props to you, Dad, for I don't know what you did, but that kid can shoot the lights out. So I don't think it's much of a secret anymore. Pretty much, everyone in the league has caught on to him as a shooter. And so I'm looking forward to seeing how he can mix things up on the varsity team this year.
It's funny, there was that game, appreciate it. There was the game against Bend High, when he hit a shot at the buzzer to win the game.
Yeah.
And I'm a Bend High graduate myself. And but after talking to the coach from Bend High later on, because I was working with him also on my day job, he told me, like, one of the only things he said was just cover that guy, just shut that guy down. Don't let him shoot the ball. And so they were covering him pretty good, but he paused and let the guy fly by him when he was trying to block the shot, and just kind of calmly waited, shot it up, dropped it in. And in his bedroom, he has a popcorn collectable thing from the Bend High snack
winner.
shack there, for having that's our little memory for that game.
Oh man, yeah, I will say that. I mean, that was he made it look easy. That was really smooth. He hit him with a smooth little pump fake, let him fly right by, knocked down the shot at the buzzer. It was cool. I mean, we executed pretty well. I called a play, one if they're man, another if they're in zone. We noticed they're in zone, so they executed it. Mason got the ball, and the rest is history. So that was a pretty cool moment for us both.
It's nice. It's nice to have a coach that believes in you and to succeed and hit the shots.
You're recognizing pitchers, the talent in the pitchers. See, I got an eye for the shooters. But Mountain View Hoops has been awesome, man. Like I said, this season is going to be pretty competitive. Caldera's picked up a few new players. I think they got seniors now. They're going to be tough.
Picked up a couple more feet.
League's going to be crazy. Looking forward to it.
So, yeah, we've talked basketball. We've talked football. What else we got going on? Oh, my gosh. Yes, how could I ever forget? But, one of these big things that's going on right now, a big moment, I think, is your, what do you call it?
We could call it a side gig, a business.
Sports enterprise?
Yeah, we're on our way.
Sport company, or like another deal where you're working with kids. It's called Central Oregon Athletics, and it's your own thing. Yeah. You started it. And did you just start it, or how long have you had this going?
So it's been, a thought for a long time. I just have had a lot of other projects going on, kind of pulled a bunch of different directions. And, finally this summer, finally got things into place. I was like, now or never, man, let's get this thing going. And so what it is, like you said, Central Oregon Athletics, and basically we're here to provide various sports camps. So sports camps for kids, all kinds of different sports, right? We're going to do different sports leagues for kids and adults. We're going to offer sports tournaments for kids and adults, and really just providing another outlet for people to play sports, right? We talked a little bit about how important of impact sports had on my life. It was, it kind of shaped me into who I am today. And I want to provide that opportunity for everybody that wants to play sports, right? And so being out in Central Oregon, we all know that how busy it can be to sign, how hard it can be to sign a kid up for sports teams sometimes, right? If you miss that first day of signups, it's likely you're going to be put on some sort of a wait list, or and you have to get called back later. You might not even get put on a team sometimes because of how many people want to play sports around here.
Yep.
And so in my mind, there's never too many outlets, especially for the kids to play sports, right? So if I'm providing another outlet, whether it's a tournament, whether it's a flag football league, a basketball league, it doesn't matter what it is, right? I think that there's going to be a need for that and a want for that. And so that's kind of the idea behind it. And I've been a part of a lot of games, a lot of coaching, a lot of tournaments, a lot of sports throughout my life, right? And so kind of taking everything I can from all those experiences and taking the things I liked from various tournaments, taking things I liked from all the different camps I've been a part of, and really kind of bundling that into my own sports thing, to where I'm going to take all those things and provide the best sports camps that I can for these kids. I'm going to provide the best tournaments I can for these kids, and hopefully just make it a really cool experience to be a part of Central Oregon Athletics. We both teamed up just recently. It's been a couple weeks now, and basically our first event as a business, and it was just play 3-on-3 basketball tournament, and we held it out in Redmond. And what a cool turnout, man. What a cool event it ended up being, especially being the first one. I mean, we had a great turnout, and just to see the community come together from teams coming from the Warm Springs area, Madras, Prineville, Redmond, and Bend, all in the same place. That was what it's all about, man. And I was just so happy with the way that turned out. It was a cool thing to have you a part of there, DJing, helping reffing and things.
Yeah, we did it all. You got a DJ that can ref and also wants to play in the tournament.
Oh, yeah, you played too. Yeah, exactly.
Don't count me out.
Uh-huh.
I almost advanced to the second round of the three-point competition if my kid didn't show up and take my spot by hitting one extra shot.
Yeah, man.
But, you had a three-point contest. That was fun. I think everybody had a really good time. It was a good feel. Good vibe, fun to see a bunch of different teams playing. You had hoops coaches popping through, Marty popped through, you had other coaches popping by, Evan that is going to University of Idaho.
Evan Houghton from Redmond High.
Yeah, from Redmond High, involved in the tournament. I don't know if he was supposed to be in the tournament, but hey.
Shh, don't tell no one. He was just a champion there. He led his team to victory, obviously.
He did. I had the opportunity. It's an opportunity to guard him. And I didn't think he was that strong. But when he throws me to the ground, that's when I know maybe I'm out of my league.
Well, when you get up into those bigger colleges, they start putting you on that diet and that weightlifting program and things that. So I'm sure he's putting on some pounds and he's getting some strength, and he's got a bright future ahead of him for sure.
Oh, yeah, he's scrappy too. He'll just toss you to the side and dunk on top of you.
And I have a newfound respect for you basketball officials, right? I've played a lot, coached a lot, never refed any games, but we fell a few volunteers short, so got thrown into the mix as a referee, and man, that is intense, dude. Oh, yeah. That was more intense than coaching or playing.
Yeah.
So I had a good time with it, but it was tough. And so, like I said, props to you guys, man. And I've always been a big fan of the refs, officials. I've never been too hard on them. There's times you choose as a coach to kind of gripe at them a little bit, but man, I have a obviously, I respect those guys because the game doesn't happen without them. And so props to all you referees and officials out there.
Thank you. And no matter what it is, in life, whether it's a referee or whether it's a police officer or whether it's whoever you're dealing with, a teacher that you don't get along with that well, if you're gonna give them attitude and be disrespectful, that's not a good way to handle the situation. I always seem to get a much better scenario come of being friendly.
Absolutely.
So like you say, like you have a pretty good relationship with the referees. And in Central Oregon, it's just full circle all the time. Like, you're going to get the same refs, you're going to get the same people. You have to play the same coaches, you play against the same kids again. Like forever. Like, it's like the kids you played in 5th grade, they're on the 6th grade, 7th grade, 8th grade, and so on and so forth.
Yeah, man. Like I said, props to you guys. And one last thing about the Central Oregon Athletics, COA. So we got a couple more things on the docket this summer. So this weekend, we're running our first youth football camp. It's turning out to be shaping up to be pretty cool, man. I got a lot of good ideas, a lot of fun things planned for the kids. We got a handful of those professional arena football players coming out to help. We got Coach Miles, defensive coordinator for the Oregon Storm, coming out to help me run this thing. We got some cool stuff going on with it. We're really excited to get the kids out there this weekend out in Redmond. And so looking forward to that. And then, we got adult flag football coming in September. We're also going to sneak in a co-ed softball tournament towards the end of the summer as well. So big things happening.
Sneak in a co-ed softball tournament. Why not?
Yeah, man.
Sports.
There's a demand.
Sports. I love sports. I play softball, so I'm a good pitcher,
I got you. Cornhole's coming up too.
Send me an app. Some cornhole, professional cornhole.
I don't know how professional, but
So, and this is all you're based out of Redmond, and you're doing the stuff in Redmond, yeah?
So, based out of Redmond, essentially, yes. But I would love to provide, as we, get our feet under us a little bit more and leading into next year, I plan on getting out to Prineville a little bit and offering some camps out there and stuff like that.
Yeah, kind of branch out into different areas of the Central Oregon.
Yep.
And so, Central Oregon Athletics, you got a website, right?
Yeah, go check it out, www.coajustplay.com. Go check out the website. It tells a little bit about us, kind of our vision, our mission, and what we're all about. And, go check it out. It's pretty cool stuff.
coajustplay.com. I know in this 3v3 basketball tournament you just had a couple weeks ago, no one knows what to expect the first time anybody does anything, I think, but it was a good thing. And then, I didn't even know I was getting professional photos taken of me throughout the whole tournament.
Yeah, man.
And then I go to the Facebook page and I'm like, I'll go try to find my photo, and I see that there's like 1,000 photos uploaded or something. And I'm like, dang, they got footage, like all these kids got like 100 pictures of themselves doing stuff. So the documentation was great, and you had your trainer, Chantel, right? Mm-hmm. That was there to help out with anybody with bruises and stuff like that, and she was doing a good job, and she was real concerned and real involved, and that was good to see too.
Yeah.
So I do have kids. If I wanted to send my kid to a sports camp, man, yours would be the prime one, with your involvement with the kids, with your coaching levels. And now starting the Central Oregon Athletics, I think it's a real good thing.
I appreciate it, man. Yeah, it's we're looking forward to some fun stuff in the future.
Awesome. Well, I just have one last thing I'd like to ask you. So you're a Raider fan, right?
Yes, sir.
Yeah, that's the correct answer.
That was the first thing when I moved out to Central Oregon. I found Bend, Oregon Raider Nation and kind of made that connection with you guys. So, yeah, big-time Raider fan. Maybe not as big as some of you guys around here, but I love my Raiders.
And how'd you get into becoming a fan of the Raiders?
Well, I think originally They used to be that rough and rugged, like hard-hitting football team.
Yeah.
I liked the logo. It was
logo.
somewhat close to Oregon, and so
West Coast.
Yeah, West Coast. I kind of picked them out when I was a youngster, and then like I'm just loyal, right? So you just got to stick with it through the good times, stick with it through the bad times, and so hopefully we got some good times coming up. We're due.
Thanks, Coach Doty, for coming on the show. Appreciate you and appreciate everything you're doing for the community and the kids.
Hey, thank you. Right back at you, man. I see you out there helping out all over the place as well. So thank you so much. This has been cool, man. I'm looking forward to hearing it when it goes live. And then also, I've been following along to all the other awesome people that you've been interviewing. And so keep it up, man. Keep up the good work.